During your 2,000-hour inspection, one of the things you want to do is remove the cover on the engine. Give it a really good look over for loose vacuum hoses. Any kind of problem with any rubber plastic parts. I've already replaced these breather hoses. When I first inspected the car at 104,000 miles, these were all hard, a couple of them are cracked. But I'm looking at this again, particularly for oil leaks. This is important on the valve covers and around the valve cover areas. And I'm looking at a little bit of oil right here that is seeping out of this breather cover. And breather cover oil leaks at 100,000 miles or above are pretty common on these V8 and V6 Mercedes engines. Pretty tricky to get these leaks fixed properly. You have to use the correct sealant and you have to use the correct preparations for the parts. You're going to end up doing the job, and a year from now they're going to be leaking again. So if you have a Mercedes and you have these breather cover leaks, you want to check out my kit on the website. I have the proper sealant and I have complete video instructions that come with it on how to remove these and correctly prepare them and seal them up so they won't leak. Well, folks, the breather cover leak on this S500 is fixed, and I need a good drink of orange juice. Take a look. It came out real nice, but this had to be one of the worst, engine cover reseal jobs on anything I've ever done. It's not that it's hard. It's just so bloomin' time consuming because of having to deal with that RTV sealant, okay? Can you imagine how long this would have taken if that were a rubber gasket on that cover and I just had to whip it off, wipe it down, clean it, bolt it back on? I have not seen a better example of a DIY job that you should do yourself. Can you imagine taking this into a shop? You should have seen how much RTV was down inside the housing and down inside that breather chamber. Obviously, that wasn't a factory job that was done previously on this, and it was just really a crummy job. And I'm not complaining about mechanics here, but you have to face the reality. They have to do this job quickly. And if you watch my on-demand video that comes with my kit, you'll find out that I spent about 80% of my time cleaning and prepping the metal parts. And it was 3 phases of cleaning that you have to do in order to get that magnesium clean enough so the RTV will stick. Because it's not going to stick, and in a year you're going to have it leaking again. So on and on it goes. A lot of people have reported this problem on the internet. A lot of people say, well, you got to use this sealant or you got to use that sealant, but it really comes down to cleaning and prep. You also need to use the proper sealant, by the way. But I'm really happy with how it came out. I'm not happy with how long it took, okay? So what I've done is I've shot a complete video on this. It's almost 40 minutes long, going through this step by step. I'm not going to go over the parts about taking the cover off the engine and that type of stuff. It's basically centers on getting those covers off. And I'm only going to do one side in the illustration of this video, but you'll get to see the procedure of getting it off, getting it clean, getting it prepped for sealant. The kit I'm offering will include the proper MB sealant. You're going to get a couple of brushes, 3 brushes, 2 of which have been modified by me for specific cleaning of the grooves and the covers. You're also going to receive 5 of the proper replacement screws. You do not want to reuse those aluminum little screws, bolts, because they're going to break off and you're going to be really sorry. So we supply stainless steel, which is now recommended. And we'll also include a 10-pack of plastic razor blades, which I think are the only way to go in doing this job. I'll include a little bit of Scotch-Brite pad. You want to use this sparingly. Don't rub into that magnesium too much and abrade the surface. And then finally, you're going to need a torque wrench, but the torque wrench is not included in the kit. The kit is what you see here. This will be available on my website with the DIY video included free of charge, but I recommend that for this job that you get a good 1/4-inch torque wrench that goes down to at least 4 Newton meters. I feel I'm pretty good at feeling torques on things, but on these particular covers, the valve cover and the breather cover, I highly recommend that you use a torque wrench. We're doing some research, by the way, on these torque wrenches in terms of which one is the best for the money. I mean, you don't need to go out and buy a $200 torque wrench for this. But if we find the right torque wrench, I'm going to go ahead and offer those on my website along with this kit that you see here. So go out and take a look at your Mercedes. If you own a 99 to 2006 Mercedes with a V8 or V6, this can even be an M-Class. If you own a Chrysler Crossfire, any of the cars that use the M112 or M113 engines, I highly recommend that you go out, pull the cover off, and I bet 50% of you will find wetness or leaking around those breather covers. And this is something you want to fix yourself. If you want it done right, I highly recommend that you do it yourself.